It's Thursday, May 28th, 2020. Dow Jones closes in the red today, down 147 points. But the markets have absolutely been on fire. You know, when you really dissect what is happening, we have a real conflict of interest here where markets are going up while the economy is sliding deeper into a depression. Dow Jones only down 147 points today. It should have been down 2, maybe 3,000 points today. When you look at another 2.1 million people added to the jobless count. More stores closing. Everybody and everything needs a bailout. I want to go over some articles today. I want to go over some stats with you. But first, I took down a couple notes. And as we are watching these markets absolutely surge, look, no doubt, I believe we are going to see all-time highs in the stock market, all-time highs on the Dow Jones, no doubt about it. But just remember, the economy is sinking deeper into a depression while the stock market continues to surge. And when you look at some of these numbers, ask yourself, how can this be happening? Right now, right here in the United States of America, we have $14 trillion in household debt. Credit card debt is at $1.1 trillion. Student loan debt, $1.5 trillion. Millions of people are out of work. We now have over 40 million people that have gone jobless in the last 10 weeks here in America. Auto debt, $1.35 trillion. Debt is going up. Delinquencies are going up right alongside of this debt. Mortgage debt, $10 trillion. Jobs are disappearing right now. Where is the income going to come from to pay for all of this debt as we have tens of millions of people out of work and everybody and everything needing bailouts? 42% of the layoffs. 42% of the people who are laid off right now may not ever go back to that job. And that's according to numerous economists. 7.5% of all mortgages are in forbearance. 500,000 new forbearances a week are happening. Ask yourself, what if there was no forbearance? People are putting their autos in forbearance. We have millions of people who are delinquent with their auto payments, and now we have about 5 million people in forbearance with their mortgages. Ask yourself, if these people weren't in forbearance, what this economy would look like. But it's amazing how we can manipulate everything. You don't have to make a house payment for 4 months. You don't have to make a car payment for 3 months. So none of this is counted because it's all in forbearance. You can delay payments on mortgages and even rents. But what's going to happen when the forbearance runs out? We're going to see a flood of homes about 6 months from now hitting the market. Some people will be able to get extensions on their forbearance. And then in another 6 months, we're going to see another flood of homes coming on the market. Look, this is just kicking the can down the road. This is just trying to put off the inevitable. We are going to see a massive housing crash in America. We know the massive amounts of cars that are coming on the market, either from the automakers or the used car markets now being flooded with the rental car companies now having to liquidate hundreds of thousands of cars. But let's get into what's happening right now. This was on Breitbart this morning. And again, market only down. Dow Jones down only 147 points today. First quarter GDP revised down to 5% contraction. That is insane. Yet the markets have been surging for weeks. CNBC today, another 2.1 million file jobless claims. Unbelievable. Market down only 147 points today. This is the mass manipulation of this Ponzi scheme that we are seeing take place. Look, people are getting very, very concerned. People who now know that they're not going to be returning to work, knowing that they're on borrowed time with unemployment benefits, stimulus checks, asking themselves, what am I going to do when this runs out? I'm not going to have a job to return to. We got big trouble coming. Here's an article on the Hedge today, over 40 million jobless in 10 weeks. Nobody ever imagined it would get this bad so fast. And I've got to tell you, I knew it was going to get bad, but literally half of America is not working now. We have still a frozen economy, even though things are reopening. There are so many rules and regulations with these reopenings that it's very hard to actually reopen a restaurant when you have to take out half your tables, cut half your staff. You have people too worried to go out. People now beginning to watch their dollars, not going out and spending as much. People now deciding to eat at home instead of going out. Many restaurants out here, there is no seating. It is takeout only, and they are not going to survive much longer. For the ones that have continued to survive, many of these restaurants are not going to survive much longer by doing takeout. There was an article on Bloomberg today. It's titled, "Salaries Get Chopped for Many Americans Who Manage to Keep Jobs." As I've said in the past, don't expect a V-shaped recovery. Many Americans are taking pay cuts to jobs that they're returning to or jobs that they've been able to keep. And in some cases, nothing is left over after discretionary purchases. People are getting extremely squeezed here, and this is why there will be no V-shaped recovery, because people now taking these salary cuts in order to keep a job or go back to a job, they're not going to be going out to the restaurants as much. They're not going to be shopping at the malls as much. They may not be shopping on Amazon as much. People now are going to be very cautious with spending money because they have less money now than ever, and they're having to take pay cuts. And so there is no V-shaped recovery coming. CNBC today, pending home sales plummet in April, but demand is showing signs of rebound. Pending home sales, which measure signed contracts on existing homes, fell 21.8% in April compared to March. This is staggering. Sales were down 33.8% compared to April of 2019. This is a record. Demand is coming back, it says in the article, and the housing picture is starting to look brighter. That's a bunch of baloney right there. Half of this country is not working. I just read an article to you off of Bloomberg. People's salaries now are getting cut. Retailers are shutting down. Thousands of more people, literally daily, are losing their jobs. Here's an article right here on CNBC. American Airlines plans 30% reduction of management and administrative staff. What a difference a few months makes, right? But how is the housing market going to paint a brighter picture when we have a retail apocalypse taking place? We have the auto industry in a depression. We have shipping literally in a depression, the trucking industry in a depression. American Airlines is planning to cut 30% of its management and support staff, a reduction of about 5,000 jobs. What does this indicate about the economy? It means people aren't planning on traveling because they don't have the money to do it. And we're seeing the airlines cutting back drastically. American Airlines had about 130,000 employees as of the end of 2019. So far, 39,000 have taken voluntary leaves or early retirement. Delta Airlines will now offer buyouts and early retirement programs also. So Delta Airlines doing the same thing. The airline industry has fallen off of a cliff. People aren't purchasing gasoline to drive around like they used to or take summer vacations. So there's a lot of canaries in the coal mines here dropping dead. Here's another article today on The Hedge. Walmart now sells used clothing as unemployment nears Great Depression levels. Well, the fact is the unemployment numbers officially are around 41 million, but unofficially they're probably around 60 million at this point. Walmart knows the economy is plunging into a depression, and they are taking no chances on losing its customer base. It will start selling used clothing, shoes, and accessories on its website. They are partnering up with ThredUp, one of the largest online thrift stores based out of San Francisco, California. That's on the Hedge today. Check that out. So how bad are things getting? Well, Walmart now will sell you used clothes, used accessories, and a used pair of shoes because Walmart knows exactly what's happening to the economy. Here's another article. Retail store closings have huge impact on communities. You bet they do. Massive amounts of taxes are generated at these stores, these retail stores, the shopping malls. They generate the money to pay, or at least help pay for your police and fire department, as well as maintaining roads in your community. They employ your neighbors, your friends, your family members, people in your community. Now people are going to have to make up the difference with these taxes because the malls are closing. We have a Sears out here that closed the beginning of the year. Half the mall, was already shutting down before then. JCPenney's will be next, so that'll be another big anchor store. All these big stores closing up, some in strip malls, some in malls. It's just really looking bad. And so who's gonna make up the tax revenue? We are. We're going to make up for it. So people, they think because they're getting a deal on Amazon, but you're going to pay for it because now you're going to have to make up the difference with all this tax revenue that is evaporating because all these stores are shutting down. We have vacant buildings. And another thing is, when I go through downtown Palm Springs, you go down there in an evening, take a look at what's wandering around and sleeping at the doorsteps or on the patios of these stores that are closed right now, homeless people. And so when you have buildings sitting vacant for a period of time, they start looking run down. They start becoming sanctuaries for people to start sleeping at, for graffiti, for people to break windows, and they start making your area look run down. So they're not generating any tax revenue. They become an eyesore, and they begin to attract homeless and other types of people. And so what does that do to the housing cost in your area when your downtown area begins to look like Detroit? Everything's boarded up, broken windows, homeless people sleeping, on the patios. What do you think that's going to do to your housing value? What is that going to do to the overall value of your city and people's lives? People just don't think long term. They just think about right now. Can I get that product and have it tomorrow instead of spending that money locally and helping the community? So we're going to see communities continue to slip away. So let's talk about Social Security. I mean, literally half this country or more is dependent on some type of government subsidy, and Social Security, we have millions of people dependent on, and people on Social Security are going to be continuing to get squeezed here. According to the Social Security Administration, Americans age 65 and over get 33% of all income from Social Security. And as you all know, it's been being robbed for years. And they're probably, for many of us, it's not even going to exist when we need it. 50% of married couples and 70% of unmarried persons rely on Social Security for 50% or more of their income from Social Security. 21% of married couples and about 45% of unmarried persons rely on Social Security for 90% or more of their income. The check is the same each month for the year, but prices keep going up. Just in the month of April, chicken, poultry went up over 16%. As I told you when I bought seafood the other day, literally in a couple weeks, the price of that same seafood went up 25%. But if you're on Social Security, you're going to get the same check every month for the year, while seafood goes up 25%, while chicken goes up 16%. and the list goes on. So it's going to get much tougher for people to survive. And it is about surviving now. And I think we all need to start really getting in a survival mindset, because the tough times haven't even gotten here. We're continuing to see the warnings, and I cannot believe people are asleep at the wheel with what's happening. 41 million people filed jobless claims in 10 weeks. This is insanity. And there's people out there believing that everything's going to be okay, that the economy is going to snap right back. It's going to be a V-shaped recovery. It is not going to happen. Stop. There are people out there that may judge me, criticize me, make fun of me, and that's fine. But those are the people I'm most concerned about. And to those people, please get out of the matrix. Please get out of your bubbles. Please come back to reality. Please stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Can you not see that we have nearly 60 million people unemployed, 41 million people jobless in 10 weeks, a frozen economy? Many states still not opening up. The states that are opening up aren't really opening up because of the massive rules and regulations and laws that are in effect. Do you not see what is happening on the streets of America? As I've said in the past, as things break down economically, they're going to begin to break down socially. And now we're seeing flare-ups in Minnesota, flare-ups in Los Angeles. People are becoming on edge, and many people beginning to act out. And this is a very scary thing. And as I told you a few videos ago when I was at Bass Pro Shop, half the people were picking up firearms. I was at another store yesterday, another gun store, packed. So what is this telling us? This is an indicator when I go into a gun store on a Wednesday and it's packed. People don't believe everything is okay. The average American, many now are waking up. Many people are getting prepared. And security is to me, the number one asset next to God. You better have security. And I'm glad to see people are taking their security seriously. But again, when I see this many people picking up firearms, as I begin to see flare-ups on the streets of America, this should be telling you something. You know, sitting at home on the couch, just picking up a stimulus check, watching Netflix, and gambling your money on Robinhood, that's a bad move. This is the time to continue preparation. Security, number one. Food, water, then silver and gold. You know, a lot of people said that this could never happen. Look where we're at today. Half the country is unemployed, frozen economy. We're in a depression. And now we're starting to see some flare-ups socially starting to happen across America. Yet people tell you, don't be negative. It's going to be okay. Nothing to worry about. You don't need to prepare for anything. Let the government fix it. Let the government handle it. Again, if you're going to depend on the government, the police, the banking system, even your churches to fix this or to save you, I feel very, very sorry for you, because you are going to be a victim of this economy one way or another. And you are going to be living in a nightmare if you cannot take care of yourself, if you cannot critically think for yourself, if you cannot physically take care of yourself, if you do not have preparations at this point, you're going to be in very big trouble when this economy breaks apart. And it is beginning to break apart.